are now going to be kicking off our first Terran matchup of the evening. It is going to be a TvP, and it is going to be here on Moondance. We're over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, spotting all the way in the top left-hand corner. We have our blue Terran player coming out from the land of Korea at the time, and also currently representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming DPG. We have the mayor of Six City himself, Cure.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Moondance, we have his opponent. We have the American Protoss player representing License to Kill, LTK. It is Nina.
Oh.
See,
now I gotta actually pretend I know what I'm talking about.
Oh. Well, what do you mean? It's your people, Papi. It's your people. You're back.
Yeah.
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 What are you saying? Are you converting? Are you becoming one with the Protoss?
No. Well, here's the thing, though. Actually, I laddered a little bit the other day.
Yeah.
And as Terran with my main race, right?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that like 3 or 4 times, whenever I tried to throw down an expansion, I would select the worker, or hit B, and I use default hotkeys for the most part, apart from a handful of things that I've switched up. Now, my hotkey for command centers is C, but I was pressing E, which is my hotkey for nexuses.
Oh.
And I don't like it. I don't. I'm afraid now. I'm worried.
Like, I'm sick, Papi. There's something wrong with me. I'm from the inside. I'm turning into a Protoss. Smooch.
You're getting into me. I'm gonna grow one dreadlock now.
Oh, just one.
Just one.
That wouldn't. Yeah,
That's all they had. That's all they had in Protoss players.
It's true. It's true. You only need one, Papi, and Kira this game needs 2. There's nothing too crazy here. He does go for a double gas opener. He's going for a faster factory as opposed to a CC, so a much more aggressive opener coming out from our Terran player. And if you notice though, at the very start of the game, Nina was able to out-control Kira a little bit, and Nina did kill the first SCV across the map. Some worker-on-worker violence was going on. So honestly, I'm pretty impressed that Nina was able to pull that off. But the aggression is not stopping from Kira, by the way. He's coming out here with his second Reaper as well as that Hellion.
Yeah, double Reaper Hellion here. Usually, as a Terran player, you're not expecting it to do a lot of damage, but there still is that potential to get a couple of probes here and there. I really like the denial here of the Adept Scout from Cure, really making use of his Reapers and his Hellions. And I'll splitting them apart so you can get just a complete scout of the bases of Nina.
Yeah, here we go. The Reapers are slipping into the main base. The Hellion can dip towards the natural as well. And we have a scout of the tech. Cure is fully aware of the Templar Archives, of the Twilight Council and the upgrade.
Yeah, picks up a couple of workers before being taken out. Not too bad, but of course the main value that Cure got from all of this was the full scout. He knows that Twilight Council is researching, and 70% of the time in a PvT, it is researching Blink.
Yeah, every now and then we have, Blink. It's a very niche build. I meant to say Glaives. Every now and then we have Glaives. It's a very niche build, but it does pop out from time to time. Meanwhile, Cure is following this up with a bit of a medevac drop. Again, he's fully aware of the Blink Stalkers and their threat, so he's getting his bunker at his natural. We have tanks on the way. He's playing this, the follow-up very safe.
Yeah, and it's a very economic mine drop that he's going for here. Only 2 winter mines, just act as a little bit of a follow-up scout. You never know if there's going to be a robo facility thrown down, just to really act a little bit more aggressively with warp prisms, for example.
Oh, definitely. Meanwhile, we do have one Widowmine in the main base, only connecting with a single worker. So far, the defense from Nina has been on point. We do see Cure trying his best to try and escape this position here, but the surround is too good, and Nina shuts this down.
Yeah, Cure was really hoping for a bit of an overreaction here from Nina going into the natural base with that Hellion, but Nina, no, she's solid, she is calm, she knows exactly what she needs to get.
Yeah, honestly, like this early game from Nina has been really good, and I would kind of favor her at the moment. I say at the moment because, you know, Cure, he's still quite solid here on these two bases. Nina has to be careful not to overextend. She does have a high ground vision because of the Observer, and she can blink into the main, but she has to be careful with her movement because there are tanks and Marines waiting for her.
Yeah, the early game is pretty important. The early game is pretty important. But in a PvT, it does not tell you everything. It's all, more often than not, it's all going to be about whether or not the Protoss player is able to delay and defend against the mid-game push, which is exactly what Cure is working on right now.
Yeah, we have Stim and +1 on the way. Marauder production has commenced. The tank count is quite solid here on two bases. Nina is doing the best she can to try and slow this down, contain Cure while she takes a third.
Yeah, that's actually a really good use of this Stalker Force right now for Nina. Just establishing the map control and making sure that she can be as greedy as she can get away with. I say greedy, you know, third base is pretty standard, but it's pretty important to make sure you can secure that before you get it.
Definitely, and Cure's not going to take this lying down. We do see him going for a bit of a Raven auto turret harass in the main base. Is going to get one probe and a lot of lost mining time. The Raven does rotate around and is going to be threading the natural, or the third is going to be able to scout that third as well once he does end up in that kind of vicinity and that area. So yeah, he's at least pulling away the attention of Nina as he is starting to push out.
Yeah. Stim is going to finish up in about 20 seconds, which coincidentally is the amount of time it takes to get across the map here on Moondance.
And the question is he going to commit to this push, or is he going to throw down a CC? So far, he's still on two bases. We don't see a third CC. We also don't see two more Raxes either, so it's still a little bit difficult to really figure out what's going on. Oh, an unfortunate scan. He misses the Observer.
Oh, feels bad, man. Just a complete waste of 50 energy.
Yeah, both observers are still alive here for Nina. She does catch the tail end of the army, and she is moving in position to intercept Cure. Cure's got some options if he wants to. He can even try and drop into the main base. Cure's aware of the general area Nina's aware of the general area of Cure's army, but doesn't quite spot it yet.
Now, did Cure confirm that third base? Based on the movement of Raven, it looked like he did, and I know he saw the pylon over there, but yeah, it's interesting that he's not making any maneuvers in that location.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Nina just read the situation a little bit wrong here. Does miss the drop. A lot of these gateways are going to be depowered, but Nina doesn't lose too much infrastructure. Thankfully, she just has to repower these gateways, and she should be fine. She's even trying to split up her army right now to try and anticipate the multi-prong harassment, and Cure is sending two medevacs over towards her third.
Yeah, quintessential TvP pretty much right now from Cure. He's just trying to pick his Protoss opponent apart, and he's banking on Nina not being able to split up her army effectively.
Yeah, and so far her third is looking quite exposed. Nina is collapsing on the army of Cure and coming in from behind as well. She's going to be able to take down every single one of these tanks. Meanwhile, the double drop from Cure is a little bit late, but he can still deal a lot of damage.
Well, we'll see, because Nina has completely cleaned out that army. The Colossus is still alive, and with this recall, it looks like Cure's going to have to back off before dealing much damage. You know, he was hoping that Nina wouldn't split up her forces effectively, but unfortunately, and that's exactly what happened. Nina fought with her entire army. Unfortunately, Cure kind of mistimed his multi-prong.
He did. Again, his second prong was quite late. These two full medevacs were taking their time to attack that third base, so Nina's honestly in a really good position right now. And now I start to worry a little bit for Cure. He's setting up a triple drop to go into the main base though. Like, he's got a lot of army out on the map. He's ready to just send everything, and really this has to do damage. He has to try and pull something crazy off to come back in this game. Oh my god!
Oh, these Stalkers were already in position, and one of these medevacs takes a lot of damage, but all of the bio is able to unload. There's some decent damage that Cure is getting. Actually, really good damage.
Yeah, Nina's army isn't responding to this, and Pure Stalker is not what you want to fight against Marine Marauder. At the same time, a triple drop in towards the third base. Nina, this time her Colossi were left in the area, so she's going to be able to clean this up, but she's still sustaining a lot of losses.
Yeah, 16 probes is definitely massive right now. Not the end of the world here for Nina, as she does have 3 Nexuses, and she's about to get a 4th, so she can rebuild, but yeah, this definitely puts her a little bit behind. If she was planning to go for a timing attack with 1-1, and I guess she could still go for it, but she doesn't have as many units as she would like.
Yeah, the SimCity in Nina's main was so unfortunate. Like, it kind of worked against her, and because she wasn't able to shut down those drops, Cure did do a lot of damage, and now it feels like Nina is pretty committed. She's pushing out across the map with her army. She needs to trade efficiently here. She needs to do some counter damage.
And honestly, she still has a pretty good army, but she doesn't have much of a buffer for her high-tech units right now. Cure is about to finish up Seismic Shock. Wait, no.
Enhanced Shockwaves?
Enhanced Shockwaves. The patch was out for like 2 weeks, and I already forgot the name of the upgrade. Oh yeah, Cure is getting Ghosts, which is what I was trying to go for. Pretty high-tech units, and these Colossus are looking a little bit exposed, but Cure, his main army is across the map. He can't really deal with that. We're getting into base trade territory.
We are getting into a base trade, and we'll see how well both players can do. Nina does have 2 disruptors defensively back at home. She actually recalls.
Huh. Alright, not a bad call at all here for Nina. I think that she could have gotten a little bit more damage done before recalling, but I guess she just really didn't want to take her chances here. Getting 1 base, that's not bad.
Well, she didn't know what was in the main. When she recalled, by the way, there were 2 Marines and 2 Widowmines on the ramp. That was it. Like, Cure had nothing at home. He barely has anything at all. Now he's kind of banking up his reinforcements, but Nina had an opportunity, didn't go for it in the end, is playing this a little bit more safely, and to be fair, I think she's still in a pretty good position.
Yeah, 2 Colossus are still here and up and running. You know, her economy is recovering. She lost a base, but at the same time was able to take a base as well. So it's all about deflecting the second wave of Cure.
Yeah, I mean, she got 2 bases. She got Cure's 4th, and she got the natural. So because of that, we're even in overall base count between our players. Nina has a worker lead. Again, I do kind of favor her overall. The downside is, of course, that Nina's army is very micro-intensive. A lot of this is going to be relied upon her disruptor control and her purification efforts.
Yeah, I mean, she's got high-tech units. She's got a very diverse range of splash damage with those disruptors and with these Colossus. But once again, if Cure just lands 1 good EMP and collapses on top of the rest of the army, then I think he'll be able to take the engagement and potentially have enough momentum to ride into a victory.
Yeah, and Cure's doing what he does best as well. He has a triple drop tucked in behind Nina's natural. He's got a large army outside her 4th, and he's got another force in between, or where her old 3rd base used to be. So Cure is getting set up here to pull Nina apart, and it's going to be on Nina to try and keep up with Cure.
Yeah, he's got all his prongs in position. He just needs to time his attack right with all of them.
Yeah, he has to try and look for an opening. Nina does have vision everywhere as well, and she has eyes on everything, but at the moment, it looks like she's playing things very scared, right? She's just staying at home to defend, but she got a Dark Shrine, and we have some DTs waddling across the map.
Yeah, I see 1 turret, but it's very far in the middle of nothing, and no more detection other than scans here for Cure.
Wow.
Yeah, EMPs as well.
Yeah, and there we go. We have a DT in the pocket base denying the CC of Cure. We do have another DT at the 3rd as well. The turret did not finish, by the way, and a lot of workers are going down.
Just like so. I got so worried for a sec that Cure was going to EMP his own medevacs as well, but thankfully that was avoided. Turret does finish up over here, and he's able to deal with that. Hasn't quite dealt with the DT in the pocket base yet.
Yeah, can Nina
Actually
force
buying Nina a lot of time.
Yeah, can Nina force a cancel? There we go. We finally have a scan, and finally this is going to get cleaned up, but 14 workers just went down, and Nina has maxed out. She is going to be getting ready to push out across the map. We go to 4th base on the way in Nina's own pocket. Oh, we do see three disruptors going down, though.
Yeah, unfortunate here for Nina. Was able to get a couple of units of the Purification Novas before they went down, but now Cure has just about evened up the supply. He's slightly ahead when it comes to army supply, and he's got a couple of ghosts. Not a huge amount of them, but they could be enough. Unfortunate disable over here.
Yeah, there we go. We do have a couple of disables on the Colossus side. We do see the army of Nina collapsing here on top of Cure. Cure just doesn't have enough. His army is split up and is being forced back at the same time towards the bottom left-hand corner. Cure, he comes in to take down the base, but there is no Nexus here.
Yeah, he was really hoping he would. He draws some of the attention away from the Northern army, but I don't think he's really going to be able to do much here. Nina is the one who's able to split up her forces, not Cure.
Yeah, like I can sense the frustrations, because honestly, I think if Nina consolidated her army and just like moved across the map, she could probably win. But like Cure is doing such a good job at just like splitting off a couple of forces here and there and just being as annoying as possible, trying to keep Nina at home and trying to buy more time.
Yeah, Cure's really, with these drops, Cure's really telling Nina, you could just group all your units together and move across the map. You could. Yeah. But I could also take a base when that happens. I could force you into a base trade. Yeah. You don't know how many mines I have back home.
That's essentially what he's doing. Like, we were basically in a base trade scenario before, and he's threatening that situation once again. And Nina doesn't want that. She doesn't. She wants like something a little bit more, you know, honorable. Yeah. But Cure is not doing that.
Maybe something a little bit more honorable, or maybe just something a little bit more not convincing. That's what I'm thinking of here, like something a little bit more reliable, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see how things will turn out here as Nina's army towards the left-hand side is pushing on forward. We do have another force towards the right here for Cure. There's not that much here to defend for Nina, so Cure has an opportunity. Does have a lot of energy on that Raven for those disables.
Ooh, but that was a nice little snipe here. Getting even just one of these ghosts is a pretty big move. Actually goes to the anti-armor, which also isn't a bad idea.
Yeah, at the same time on the left-hand side, Nina's had enough. She's pushing out across the map with her army. She wants to force an engagement. Has to be careful. Is going to be able to pick off a couple of units. A medevac and a Widowmine go down at the same time. Oh, Cure also threatening Nina's natural.
Yeah, but these disruptors are doing such a good job of just zoning the bio away. I really like Cure's movement right now. He's not losing any of his units unnecessarily. Huge EMPs over in the natural base.
Oh, but a massive Nova as well connects with Cure's army, but at the same time, Cure is setting up a surround. He's coming in from behind. And so is Nina.
Wow, both players just trying to outflank one another. The disruptors are still in play, or at least a handful of them are. Cure a little bit on the back foot, but Nina has to be careful not to get concaved. Huge anti-armor missile before that Raven goes down.
Exactly, Nina a little bit trigger happy with her disruptors, kind of connects, but now she's getting what she wants. Cure's entire army is back at home. He doesn't have anything threatening her bases.
Yeah, now finally Nina has established a map control. She's the one forcing Cure to consolidate all of his forces. She knows for a fact that there's no way Cure can really send off a drop. Well, I guess he kind of can, but it's going to be very, very risky. And at this point, Cure down to 2.5 bases, essentially, doesn't want to take any unnecessary risks.
Yeah, he really doesn't. He's biding his time right now. We do have some Vikings on the way. +1 ship attack just finished for Cure, so he can transition into Liberators. Liberators will change the dynamic of this game, but before that happens, he's just trying to push her way up this ramp. EMPs are going to be going off, though.
That's actually a really good question. Why didn't Cure transition to Sky Terran a little bit earlier? Well, I guess because he was a little bit preoccupied. You know, he knew that he had to keep those drops up. He knew that he had to get, you know, that bio to be threatening and to force Nina into a bit of a corner. But yeah, I can't help but wonder if maybe Cure transitioned to Sky Terran a little bit earlier, if things would be different.
Maybe, but for the time being, Nina's doing a great job at containing Cure to only 3 bases. He's desperately trying to get a 4th back up and running. Nina behind this is double expanding. You love to see it. But again, her army is still a little bit fragile, so I'm not entirely convinced that Cure can't come back as he is continuing that Viking production as he does. Oh, he's going to be catching the disruptors! No!
Oh, like so! Oof! I think one of those Novas actually landed on the disruptors. Or at least that's what it looked like. Some very high value pickups here for Cure. Nina consolidating with the rest of her forces, just trying to reciprocate the damage that she's taken. But once again, she's being a little bit trigger happy with these disruptors. Even though she's not on Team Trina at the moment.
Exactly, but she finds her way up this ramp, and she's going to be able to once again force the base to lift up here. Cure, oh, he's going to be taking a lot of Novas to the face as well. The splits just are not there.
Yeah, they're kind of there, but they're not there enough. You know, the army supply is in favor of Cure, but let's not forget, a lot of that supply is in medevacs. Cure, though, he's just finished up his upgrades, and he is chasing this army down. He knows that the Novas were on cooldown.
Oh my god. Yeah, the reinforcing disruptors are here just in time. It looked like Cure was going to be able to force things in his favor, but no, he barely doesn't have enough. His Marauders are fighting their hearts out. The Vikings were the MVP, killing the majority of the Colossi, but he just doesn't have enough. He cannot push out.
Yeah, trading bio for all of those high-tech units of Nina would be worth it, if not for the fact that Cure also lost 30 or so workers and doesn't have that many bases to mine from at this point. He can rebuild his SCVs, no problem. He's got 3 CCs, but he only has about 2 bases worth of mining right now, compared to Nina, who has 1, 2, 3, 4.5 bases to mine from, essentially.
Yeah, she's got so many bases available to her. We do have the Novas once again just zoning away the army. The Vikings do take down the Colossi, but GG gets called. Nina takes game 1 against Cure.
Wow. What a good showing from Nina, honestly, today. Being able to take out Rex 2-0 and now being able to take a game off of Cure, a player who was known for having one of the most solid TvPs for a very long time in Korea. This bodes really well for her.
Definitely, I'm a little bit shocked by this result, but I do think some of it may come down to Cure and just being a little bit stubborn with his play. As you were pointing out, it took him a long time to start transitioning into either Vikings or Liberators. We never saw any Liberators in the end. He was staying with a much more flexible army, and it looked like he thought that he could pull Nina apart. He thought that she just wouldn't be able to keep up with him, but in the end, she did.
Yeah. At the very least, it looked like Cure was thinking that by kind of going for his multi-pronged style that he is known for and kind of keeping that up, he could at least starve Nina out, right? He wasn't feeling too pressured to transition into more of a late game, more of a, Ghost Liberator style that we do see a lot in TvP.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he kind of was forced to keep making Marines and Marauders because, he had to keep that drop cell going. That was the only thing keeping Nina back. But yeah, it feels like he missed a bit of a timing to transition. And by the time he had, Nina was already consolidating her forces, already kind of taking the fight to Cure.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think it just comes down to the fact that I don't think he wanted to. I don't think he wanted to transition. I think it was like, I'm going to beat you with...
That also makes sense.
Yeah, with like Marine, Marauder, Ghost. Like, I'm just going to pull you apart with this mass drop style and you will eventually crumble. But yeah, that's why, props to Nina for being able to weather the storm in the end and eventually kind of get the fights that she wanted. Things were still pretty close, and we saw a number of times where Cure was able to get a lot of value and pick off a couple of key units and actually get a lot of worker damage done as well with his drop play, but it just barely wasn't enough.
Just barely wasn't. And I do expect Cure to tie up the series. I mean, he's kind of the favorite here for a reason, but man, just even taking one game off of Cure is very, very impressive for Nina.
Yeah, exactly. Like, already I'm sure Nina should be over the moon with this result. Don't think, I at least wasn't expecting her to be taking a game off of Cure. Can she do the impossible and make it a 2-0, you know? Like, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but going into 2023, Nina, I think, can definitely solidify herself as kind of that fourth amigo to Neep, Scarlet, and Estrella. If things keep going well for her, maybe she can sneak into that top 3. Who knows?
It's possible. It's definitely possible. But we'll see. We don't want to be getting ahead of ourselves. Already a great result for our American Protoss. Can it happen again? Yaku, take it away.
In 3, 2, 1, unpause. Here we are now on Cosmic Sapphire, here for game number 2 in our best of 2 group stage match here. And in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in that top left-hand corner, we have our blue Terran player coming out from the land of Korea. He is the mayor of Six City himself, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming DPG. But now in a little bit of trouble, he is Cure.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the American Protoss player representing License to Kill LTK. It is Nina. With a very surprising lead in this series, and we'll see if she can make the dream run possible. We can see Nina being a little bit paranoid, does go for a bit of a probe scout towards the northern section of the map. Meanwhile, Cure is able to slip his own SCV out to try and get a delay, and there we go. We have the eBay block.
Like so. I was staring at this probe for a while, like, because, you know, sending out your 14th SCV for a scout seemed a little bit early. I had a lot of high hopes, but yeah, tis not going to be a proxy. Tis just going to be a bit of a delay here for Cure.
And this is brutal because Nina didn't get eyes on this NG Bay for a very long time. She's going to be forced to take an unnatural natural, but Cure is already there again, forcing, like, this is so annoying. Nina just wants to expand.
Yeah, she's got to make a decision right now. I mean, she could take a Zealot out to try to take out the eBay and expand naturally, but yeah, this is rough.
Oh, she's going for the
probe.
Yeah, we've got a probe towards the bottom left, but Cure scouts the gold.
Or does he?
He does.
He does.
Like this was Nina's answer, like to try and sneak out a ninja, but now the jig is up, and we can see she doesn't want.
It
should be. Oh boy. Yeah, Cure, he even just double checks to make sure that the gold wasn't taken.
Yeah, the jig truly is up. I just probe. It's still hanging around. It's still trying to find something to do, and it looks like Nina might try to just get a forward pylon, potentially even a proxy gateway out, but yeah, it's not something that she was planning to do whatsoever, so regardless of what she does, it's going to be a little bit inefficient.
Yeah, like this is such a late Nexus, so already a great start here for Cure. He's going to go in with his SCV, and this is a pretty important scout because for all he knows, it's a one base all in, so he just has to make sure that, okay, you have indeed started your Nexus. He also sees the tech as well with his Fire Council. Like, this SCV has more than paid for itself.
And he's even going to scout his third base location with his Hellion. Pylon is cancelled just before it finishes up. Nina nothing has gone her way so far in this game, and it's going to take a lot of mental fortitude to try to fight back now.
It really is. We see from here she's going into her blink. We have a robo on the way and a second gateway. Yeah, we'll see kind of how things can kind of come together. Meanwhile, Cure himself is actually doing something peculiar. I know we've been focusing a lot on Nina and how late her expansion is, but likewise, Cure also, I believe, went for a double gas opener, and this madman has been pumping out Marines.
Yeah, no mines have come out. It's just pure Marine, vanilla Marines with a medevac to go for a drop and potentially a tank as well to try to meet this drop if things go well enough for Cure. Right now, he's just going to use it for defense, but yeah, the ball is very much in his court.
Yeah, I don't know if I like this. Because I don't know if this is necessary, especially because these are vanilla Marines. I don't know if they're really going to be able to find too much damage. Like, Nina was forced to make units early on because she had to spend her resources somehow. She's already got 4 of these Stalkers, about to have 6 Stalkers. I think she should be fine as long as the Stalkers are able to react in time, as long as Nina's able to react in time.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. 8 Marines can definitely do, even without Stim, can definitely do a little bit of damage here. Take out a couple of probes. Best case scenario, depower a building. But yeah, Cure, he's not going straight in for it. He is instead setting up a bit of a multi-prong by the looks of things.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a Raven on the way. He's got at least a second tank on the way as well. We do see Nina being quite greedy, going straight for a robotics bay and a third base at the same time. And to be fair, Nina has to do this. She has to be greedy just because of the delay at the start of the game. But yeah, like, Cure's follow-up is very interesting to me.
Yeah. And yeah, it's definitely not one that you see every day, just because, like you said, unlike, say, the Widowmine drop, it's not guaranteed to get you... It's not guaranteed to get you at least even a little bit of damage, or even scouting, but yeah, it's much more of a patient follow-up coming out from Cure. Well, once again, I've just been staring at this medevac for the last 2 minutes, but he knows that if he sends it in right now, Nina is likely to react with Stalkers. He's waiting for the absolute perfect time to send in these, well, right now they're vanilla Marines, but he is working on Stim.
Yeah, but like, that's why I'm so perplexed by this opener from Cure, because the resources that he invested into these Marines and into this medevac could have been into faster production, could have been into faster tech as well. Like, there are other ways that he could have spent his resources. It feels like I think the reason why he made so many Marines early on is because he thought that he was going to force Nina into like a one base all in, because of how delayed the Nexus was. So I think he was anticipating a counterattack, but because there never was one, like, he just found himself in a really weird position where he has like excess units.
I was gonna say it's mind games, but what you said makes much more sense. What you said makes much more sense than I'm used to. So I'm sticking with my theory. It's mind game.
Yeah, the Chrome is a lie. Oh my god. So here we go. Cure is in the midst of moving on out. Nina has eyes on this because of the Observer. Eventually the Observer is going to be hunted down by this army. Meanwhile, we have a scan into the main base. We do see Cure going finally for his drop, pulling his trigger.
Yeah, and you know what this does? It just pulls the army of Nina back. Or at least it should. I don't know where Nina's going with those Stalkers.
I mean, she knows that there's an army in the middle of the map. She's trying to anticipate its movement, but unfortunately she goes into the wrong direction. Cure is able to get his siege up.
He is able to get the siege up. Throws down 2 auto turrets, so not quite able to disable that single Colossus, but he doesn't need to just yet. Another auto turret gets thrown down. This is a lot of DPS, but this is a second Colossus. Yeah,
here we go. The second Colossus is moving on forward, but the Stim is real from Cure. He does focus down one of those Colossi. Can he get the second? It looks like maybe he can.
He should. Yeah, he would have been able to if not for these 3 chargelets. Instead, he's going to have to be content with taking out that Nexus, which, you know, if you're a Terran player, you're going to have to be, you know. Very good target firing with his tanks earlier, just shelling away at one of the Colossus, able to take it out without a disable. And now Cure, once again, the ball stays in his court. He can go for a follow-up push. He doesn't need to.
Yeah.
GG is called, and Cure is able to tie up that series 1-1, our first tie of the evening.
She gets cold. I mean, Nina, she did cut some corners to take that third and to get into fast Colossi production, and it looked like she was almost about to hold on to her third. Unfortunately, I don't believe there were any shield batteries set up. I don't believe there was an overcharge either, so she didn't have the best kind of defense ready there. Again, she wasn't quite sure if Cure's army was going to be going towards her natural or her third. She was a little bit torn when it comes to which direction he was going to come from, and Yeah, as a result, losing her base and her Colossi was just a little bit too much, especially after the early game.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was. The kind of lack of shield batteries and whatnot. Now, when you're playing from behind, you have to cut corners somewhere, and every time you are cutting corners, you're taking a little bit of a leap of faith. I don't want to say you gamble because you're making an educated decision, but yeah, there's always that factor, that little element of surprise, and that little element of you're hoping your opponent doesn't react how they should in that position. So, and unfortunately, Cure did react how you're supposed to in that situation. So
Yeah.
GG, Cure doesn't go down 0-2, but still, I would say it's very, very impressive to see Nina take a game off of Cure.
Yeah, it's a matchup that we don't get to see too often at all. We rarely get to see Nina go up against some of these Korean titans and the Korean Terrans. So yeah, really impressive results. Oh, and we'll see how things will end for us, because we are going to be getting into our final series of the night. We are going to be getting some Diego, papi.
Diego. Mr. Worldwide himself.
Yes, our final series of the night is going to be Kelazor going up against Rex.